not with me, then you're my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
The character of Anakin Skywalker is one that is very complex and not fully appreciated at times because of his various personages that have been shown in the original trilogy, the prequels, the comics and novels, and so on. There isn't a truly definitive Anakin Skywalker because, like most great characters, he evolved over time to assume new personas and new abilities. But without a doubt, one of his key moments in life was on Mustafar, when he ended the Separatists by killing them and then found himself burning alive after his former master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, mutilated him and left him for dead.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate my power!
But what was he thinking in those moments of burning and pain? I'm gonna go ahead and break it down for you today. But first, go ahead and do me a favor, leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, let's get started. If you want the chance to win a brand new iPhone 12, MacBook Pro, or a $500 Amazon gift card, find the hidden message that's in this video, comment it down below, and subscribe to the channel for a chance to win one of these amazing prizes. Don't forget to hit that like button, and good luck. Number 7, Padme. Surprised at the first one? You honestly shouldn't be. Think about what happened when Darth Vader was truly born in all black armor. What did he ask Palpatine about? He asked about Padme.
Where is Padme? Is she safe?
In your anger, you killed her.
He knew she was alive. He knew she didn't die by his hands, and he wanted to know if she was alright. These thoughts no doubt were going through his mind while he was on the ground burnt. Because do recall that just before the fight with Obi-Wan, the two had reunited as he was trying to explain all he had done before realizing that Obi-Wan was there as well. He choked her out of anger because he thought she betrayed him.
You're with him! You brought him here to kill me!
No!
Let her go, Anakin!
In truth, she didn't know he stowed away, and that's why Obi-Wan not only made Anakin stop, but ensured that Padme wouldn't wake up for a while so he could save her. So lying there on the ground, it's no surprise really that he would think about Padme, because he would regret that he put her into that situation. He wanted to know if she and their children were alright, and wanted nothing more than to go and be with her. Say what you will about Anakin, but his love for Padme wasn't questionable. He wanted to give her a galaxy that she could raise her children in happily, but that didn't happen, sadly for him. Number 6, failure. This one very much speaks to Anakin's mental state, because even before he was a Jedi, Anakin was competitive. When he learned the Force and got to push his abilities, he went out and tried to push himself in all sorts of ways, truly becoming one of the most powerful and talented Jedi in the history of the Order. But just as important as all of that, he had the drive to succeed in all things, especially when it came to combat. Nothing made Anakin madder than having a battle he couldn't win on his own or with his troops by his side. He was a creative genius in combat, but at times even he fell short, like his battle with Dooku where he lost an arm because of his failure. And so fast forward to Mustafar, and he just got owned by his former master. Remember, he was told by Palpatine that the dark side would make him stronger and allow him to usurp death. And while that was technically true, this isn't exactly how he thought it would go. Plus, Padme was hurt because of his rage, so that's another failure on Anakin's part. When you add that all together, this was easily one of the lowest points in his entire life, which was only made worse by the fact that he was limbless, burnt, and couldn't pull himself out of the danger so that he could right his failure. Number 5, pain.
My brother, Anakin!
One thing that honestly gets lost when it comes to Darth Vader is that while he's a very powerful Sith Lord with a voice that screams, "You don't want to mess with me," Darth Vader is the very symbol of don't judge a book by its cover. Because while he may be dressed in black armor and have a respirator that allows him to go and breathe without too much issue, the man is in a lot of pain all the time. Don't forget, he wasn't just burned. He was burnt by the flames of a lava planet. Flames that melted his skin, seared his nerves, and left him without any chance of healing naturally. This wasn't just a flesh wound. This was a life-changing injury. As it so happens, him not being fully healed was part of Palpatine's plan when he saved Vader. He wanted him to be in pain because that would alter his perspective and make him angry constantly. It worked. Vader's psyche very much broke because of all the pain he's in constantly, making him a more wrath-filled Sith Lord than before. He would eventually construct various chambers to go and rest in and mediate in so that the pain wouldn't be unbearable for at least a short period of time. But when he was on the ground of Mustafar, the pain was no doubt immense, which is why he was knocked out by it at first, because it was just too much for him to handle. Number 4, anger. As they like to note a lot in Star Wars, anger is the path to the dark side. Well, when it came to Anakin, he was almost always angry. Even when he was a boy, he was angry because he didn't have a dad. His mom and him were basically slaves and so on. He had to leave his mother to become a Jedi, and then when he returned home, she was killed because of Sand People. He felt he never had the respect of his peers and the Jedi Council, which is why when he was rejected Master status in the Order, he lashed out in rage because he felt he was being looked over. And most importantly of all, he was angry because he felt the Jedi were holding him back and couldn't really help him save Padme should the need arise. And as he oh so happily said after being mutilated, "I hate you," a clear sign to Obi-Wan that his friend, his pupil, his brother, gone, because anger had consumed him. In that moment, you could argue that his anger was at its peak because he was angry at so many things. The Jedi, Obi-Wan, his own lack of true power, his failure to defeat his master, his injuries, and so on and so forth. Though in that long bout of anger, could there have been something else inside of him calling him out? Number 3, regret. Regret is something that Anakin knows all too well, even if he doesn't admit it all the time. His whole life has been very much full of regret, just as much as it was about anger. He regretted not being able to take his mother on his journey to Coruscant. He regretted not being there for her when she was taken by the Sand People and saving her from death. He regretted what he did to Padme in many ways, and perhaps in that moment on Mustafar, he regretted how far he fell. Future stories would show that there were various sparks of Anakin still within him. So much so, in fact, that it eventually allowed him to save his son Luke, even though he knew he was too late for true redemption. One has to wonder what would have happened if that regret came sooner and not later. Number 2. Fear. I sensed much fear in you. These were the words that Master Yoda spoke to Anakin after he did the various tests to prove he was worthy of Jedi training. At the time, Anakin didn't understand what fear had to do with anything. But over time, as Yoda foresaw in his own way, the fear built up in Anakin. He feared losing Padme. He feared not being strong enough to protect her and their children, and he feared what would happen if he wasn't ready for when certain things were to happen. Lying there in a heap, there's little doubt that Anakin again felt that fear, because fear is what drove him to get stronger more than justice or peace. He never wanted to be afraid again, and he failed in that regard. Number 1, power. At first, it may seem odd that Anakin on Mustafar, as we've been placing him, would feel any kind of power. But remember, the dark side of the Force doesn't play by the same rules as the light side. The dark side is very much one that is played off of emotions, especially the darker emotions of anger, rage, hate, spite, jealousy, and so on. Think about it like this. Anakin was chopped to pieces, burnt alive, left to die, and yet he lasted long enough for Palpatine, who was on Coruscant, when he sensed Anakin's danger, and at best was hours away from him, to come and rescue him. That shouldn't have happened, but the Force, the dark side of the Force, kept him alive. In future stories, it was said that Anakin was so strong with the dark side that he can use it to hold his body together long enough for his suit to be fixed or reboot in times of peril. With his anger and rage at full blast, he was easily in commune with the dark side and used it to keep him alive, thus proving he was right to switch sides. And there you have it, everyone, a look at the various elements of Anakin's mindset as he was burning alive on Mustafar. What do you think of this look at his psyche and how his mind was warped by the dark side? Do you think that any of these were honestly what he was thinking as he lay there in ash? If not, what do you think he was feeling and thinking? Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.